I've been getting a lot of questions in my inbox, mostly about how to improve in PvP, how to increase your chances of going flawless, how to be a better player, and so forth. I previously made a video called 10 PvP tips, and it applied not only to Destiny, but to pretty much every FPS game that ever existed. I'm going to elaborate more on the topic of adaptability, specifically to Destiny. Now, I'm about to show you a chart on screen. This chart is not made from any in-game data, but just my personal experiences visualized. So what this chart essentially says is that for every hour practice, you do improve in skill. But to get to 100% of a skill mastered, it takes more and more hours. In other words, you kind of hit a plateau and only slowly improve at things. But the first couple hours of trying something, you see drastic improvement, going from 0 to maybe 50% of the skill mastery very quickly, within 10 to 20 hours. You can apply this concept to anything. You can apply it to how good you are at sniping, how good you are at using a shotgun, how good you are at using Night Stalker compared to the Blade Dancer, how good you are at using Striker Titan, how good you are at specifically using Shoulder Charge, and so forth. So I painted a picture that if you want to be the absolute best, the best there ever was, a Pokemon master, whatever, if you want to have that 100% skill, that 99% skill, then you have to put in a metric. Wait a tick. Can I even say this anymore with the new advertising policy?
Just do it.
Okay, a metric fudge ton. No, that didn't sound natural. A metric fuck ton of hours. So here's the dilemma. Most players who are asking for PvP tips, they don't have all the time in the world to play PvP. They only have, what, a couple hours a week? So you have to be smart with what you want to use those precious hours for in terms of practice time. Let's say over the course of a couple months, you have 500 hours to spend on any sort of practicing you want in Destiny. Do you spend all 500 on just sniping so you're the best sniper in the world? That might get you through trials if you're KJ Hovey and are an aimbot, but for most people, it won't. Sniping alone will not make you a trials flawless player. So here's what I propose will get you the most bang for your buck, to speak. Since a lot of progress is made in the first 10 to 20 hours, do just that. Spend 10 to 20 hours on sniping. Spend 10 to 20 hours on shotgunning. Spend 10 to 20 hours on each individual subclass so you know all the little nuances that certain matchups will bring. After you have a general grasp of the whole game, then you specialize. But you don't specialize in one thing. You specialize in two totally opposing things. I'll give you an example regarding subclasses. Let's say that you only play Sunsinger, right? But you play a team of 3 defenders. So what's a Sunsinger supposed to do when they all pop bubbles on top of each other? Just wave at them, dance, get suppressor naded out of your self-res? It's not gonna end well. What the Sunsinger should do is learn to play Voidwalker decently. Switch to a Shatter Nova Bomb, and then just like rub your hands together, lick your lips, wait for them to pop a bubble, because that's a free triple. Now I'll give you an example with weapons. Yes, you see some people running sidearm and a hand cannon to be 100% all in close quarters engagements, but most smarter players run a hand cannon and a sniper so they can deal with people at most ranges. Likewise, you can go pulse rifle sidearm to also have an edge at almost every possible range. I was running a card with Cool Guy and his friend Rhodesy last night, and we played a team where they all three used universal remote and a sidearm. So what did I do? I switched from Sunsinger to Voidwalker. I put on the Fellwinter artifact so that I could have 2 Axiom bolts. I put on perks to where if I punched somebody or an Axiom bolt got a kill, I recovered health, and then I got more Axiom bolts to toss. I ran a sniper rifle, and I stayed as far away from those universal remotes as possible. It was laughable how easily we won that match. So this idea of mastery goes into more than just what subclass you use, what weapons you use. It also defines your playstyle. If you have 1,000 hours of just playing aggressive, well, I suppose that you'll get really stressed whenever the game is forced to be played slow. Again, I'll reference the card I played with Cool Guy and Rhodesy. We got the slower side of the Twilight Gap map. That's the one that doesn't spawn on the zone. I think it's Alpha. Yeah, it's Alpha. We had the initial plan of just going balls to the wall aggressive from that side, and it blew up in our face. Like, we couldn't even break the midline because they had us stuck with nades, they had us zoned out, and so forth. It wasn't until we started wrapping around the map, going to the left or right side, and then fully flipping the spawn. That way, when the zone inevitably popped up, we had an angle on them, that we started seeing a bit of success. But then the teams adapted. They expected us to go on a full flank. So that's when we said, all right, now they expect us to go on a flank. Let's go balls to the wall aggressive. And it worked. So yes, there is a little bit of mental game that you kind of have to learn, but being adaptable and having a versatile toolkit means you'll have more answers for any problem that you'll face in trials. Even if you're not the best sniper in the world, you can do either. Get you a man who can do both. So now that you learned all the subclasses, all the weapons, a bit of all the playstyles, you can start learning some interesting, let's call them specialized tricks. These are going to involve maybe using the sword hilt instead of emotes for seeing third person, playing claws so that you can revive people while shooting, and using fringe exotics for very, very special cases, like the Khepri Sting, the Empyrean Bellicose, which you'll see in this gameplay, or when I occasionally use on my Warlock, the Stag. In these instances, being 50% good at them, 75% good at them, isn't really worth much. You have to know them like the back of your hand, or it just ends up being a detriment. So here's where you want to focus the remaining amounts of your hours. If you can't do all of them, pick one or two of them. To be more specific, what is the use of playing Claw if when you play Claw you can't aim for shit? What is the use of using a sword hilt if you're only using it in situations where an emote gives you the exact same amount of benefit? What is the point of using Empyrean Bellicose if you end up getting more out of Twilight Garrison? If you've done everything I said up until this point on the video, you should be very, very, very competent and confident that you'll win in Trials of Osiris. Because nearly 99% of cases, you will have an answer to any problem that comes up. Oh, 3 Sunsingers with sticky grenades? No problem. You know exactly how they work. You looked at their loadouts. You know how to counter it. You try to use the first or second round to gauge their playstyles. You come up with an effective counter and so forth. And then for those rounds where you really need it, you have your specialized skills. Your aces in the hole. Your sword hilting, tossing a fusion grenade across the map, knowing that it'll stick 'em kind of skills. You're put on the Empyrean Bellicose with weapons of light because you know if he Nova bombs your bubble, it's as good as useless. So what you do is you pop your bubble as far away from the Voidwalker as possible, and then Empyrean Bellicose snipe anyone who disagrees. Once you're at this point of competence and versatility in your Crucible gameplay, that's when you have to look at what you're naturally good at, and then really start to refine that. So if it's, in this case, sniping, start working on your sniping. Get your shots so consistent that you don't even have to think about it. And then play to that strength. Maybe Anomaly isn't the best map for you to snipe on, so you're probably not going to go flawless that week. But just wait till it's Widow's Court. Then you have a pretty damn good chance of going flawless. Remember guys, I'm not saying that you can't both be a great sniper and a great shotgunner for argument's sake. I'm saying that someone who's a more casual player only has so many hours in the day to commit to playing Destiny. So you really have to be above average, because after all, only above average teams go flawless. Otherwise, you were carried. For those of you that have the luxury of playing a lot of hours of Destiny, but still find yourself not improving, that's what the rest of this video is for. So here's one exercise I want you to do. If you have the capability to record games, do it. Play like somewhere 6 to 10 games, but then roll a dice. Or hit a random number generator, something. Whatever that random number generator lands on, let's just say it's 3 in this case, I want you to load up the third game that you recorded. Take note of all the shots you took. Did you hit most of your shots? Take a note of your engagements. Did you push up in a silly situation or so forth? Take notes of little nuances in the game. Like, did you look that they had a supercharged when you were in that engagement? I want you to focus really on the things that you did badly, not good. Let's say, for instance, that the worst part of the gameplay is your aim. I mean, you're lucky because this is Destiny, but still, let's say for argument's sake that you started taking notes in your gameplay and you said, alright, my aim is what's holding me back. That's what you want to focus on your practice now. Just aim. Shoot at a wall. Try to hit the exact same place you shot. Turn 180 degrees. Now turn another 180 degrees and shoot that exact same spot where you shot the wall. Just work on little aiming drills. There's plenty of aiming videos out there. I think Cool Guy's even building himself an aiming video right now, so I will for sure link that in the description whenever he gets around to making it. After you identified your problem, in this case aim, go through an aiming boot camp. Practice the hell out of aim. Once your aim has significantly improved, like a jump from a couple percents, not just 1% better, go back, hit another session of 6 to 10 games, and repeat this process. Maybe now aim isn't the issue. Maybe it's anytime you're weak, you're not finding and using cover efficiently. So now that's what you work on. You go third person with a friend and start taking cover in places. And you ask your friend, hey, can you see me? Once you start working on your angles in the map and how you're exposed and things of that nature, then you repeat the process again. 6 to 10 games recorded. Roll the dice. Hit a random game. Take a note of what went wrong. Focus on improving that. Rinse and repeat. Holy shit, that no scope. But rinse and repeat. I don't really consider myself a good player at any regard of the game, but I do seem to have a knack for finding what people are weak against and then using that to my advantage. So maybe, like, let's say in the case, I'm playing a player with amazing aim. Well, my goal is never to be seen by that player. If they see me, they're probably getting naded, and I want it to stay that way. Let's say I'm playing a player who is very, very competent at playing the fastest possible. They are the most aggressive player in all of Destiny. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to force him to sit. He's just going to stew. He's going to get really pissed off. Let's say I'm playing someone who's really, really good with a shotgun. Well, Telesto goes on. I shoot the ground and try to bait him into some Telesto bolts so that I can easily clean him up with the primary. It doesn't work this picture perfect in every scenario that I ever encounter. Like this game, it was a 5-4 and it probably could have easily been a 5-2. But I feel like I at least gave you a reason to think about, well, how versatile is my play? Can I adapt to any scenario? If Bungie randomly pulled the rug from under our feet and changed the meta, I don't know, maybe removing special ammo or something, could I adapt to playing? Food for thought. Tell me what you thought of this in the comments. See ya, folks. Sorry about my outro. Yeah, I'm so sick of sidearms, so tired and pissed, so done with wishing that they'd stop the sticks. With just one quick subscription to Cammy Cakes Gaming, you too can save a tone-deaf person like me in the arms of